What's going on, everybody? This time to wrestle with Suplexus. I'm Suplexus, and today I present Future Slam Reignite. Through Toronto takeovers, through betrayals, through amazing wars, through TLC matches, Candice and Iyo went crazy in NXT. However, I am looking to reignite that feud onto the main roster, so that is what this video is going to be about, how I would do that. However, before we begin with that, I'm gonna address couple things. First, I am feeling under the weather, so sorry if my voice sounds a little different. My apologies. And second of all, I am going back to university on January the 7th, so this will more than likely be my final video before for a long time and before January 7th. So the next one I'll do, it might be Royal Rumble predictions. It might be that long. However, that's just a little side thing. Now that that's out of the way, let's get started with this, and let's start with the recap. Yes, this video was set up in Future Slam 7 Part 2 in the Women's Royal Rumble match. So, to recap, Iyo and Candice were number 1 and 2 in that match, and they went at it, and in the end, Iyo ended up eliminating Candice when she least expected it. Candice comes back in the ring, destroys Iyo with a chair, pulls it out, and hits two suplexes on it, the same one Iyo did to Candice way back in NXT when she turned heel. So after that, Iyo and Bianca both won the Royal Rumble. Both their feet hit the floor at the same time, and they both chose Rhea Ripley. A lot of both in that sentence. So that's where we're at right now. And until Mania, the feud does not go to too many places. Like, the one thing that happens, just for a little revenge, because they're on opposite shows, Iyo gets involved and makes Candice lose an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. So, just a small thing happens on the road to Mania, but their interactions are limited. And then at WrestleMania, I might make a Future Slam video about WrestleMania. However, I have to discuss the events of WrestleMania for a reason. So at WrestleMania, Candice, let's say she's in some US title ladder match for the women. They have that, and she risks it all and puts either Dakota Kai, or more likely, since Dakota Kai is going for the IC title, Kairi Sane through a ladder on the outside with a crazy spot. And later in the night, or on the show also, like, I don't know if it's night 1 or night 2 yet, but also on WrestleMania 41, Iyo wins the Women's World Championship, pinning Rhea Ripley to win it. So, one final thing to address. I am just gonna give a brief schedule of the pay-per-views after Mania and until SummerSlam. So we're gonna have Backlash in Mexico City on May the 3rd, and then we are going to have King and Queen of the Ring in Saudi Arabia on June the 7th. Then we will have Clash at the Castle in Dublin, Ireland on June the 21st. And Money in the Bank, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, July 12th. And SummerSlam, which has already been announced for August 2nd and 3rd in New Jersey. So, with that out of the way, let's get started with the build. So, we are on the Raw after WrestleMania. Iyo is the new women's champion, and essentially it is announced that another exchange is going to happen after WrestleMania, a roster exchange. And coming from SmackDown to Raw is Candice LeRae. So Iyo's in the ring to kick off the show, and Candice comes out and she's just tirading on Iyo. She's like, "You eliminated me from the Royal Rumble. Ever since I decided to become friends with you, my career's just gone downhill. You stabbed me in the back. I lost NXT women's title shots. I lost WWE women's title shots. You beat me in a NXT title match and the women's tag titles. You took those off me. Basically, you dragged me down, and it is my job to take that title off you. It's my destiny, all that." However, she expects Iyo to say something, but Iyo completely ignores her, walks right past her, and calls out Rhea Ripley. And she's like, "Rhea Ripley, come on out here." And Candice basically, she leaves and she is upset that she got ignored. Rhea Ripley comes out and it's announced Io's gonna fight Rhea Ripley later in the night for the women's title, and she retains the women's title. So the following week, it is announced a battle royal is gonna happen. On the following week, a battle royal is gonna happen to determine the number one contender for the women's championship at Backlash. So this is announced though on the Raw after Mania, so that's why Candice doesn't get involved in the main event. She has her shot to become number one contender, and she wins that match, and it is made official. It is made official. Sorry about that. Iyo Sky will defend against Candice LeRae for the Women's World Championship at Backlash. So the build to this match basically it continues off of what happened on the Raw after Mania. Candice, she brings up how she experienced a downfall ever since Iyo betrayed her. She's never won a title. Then Iyo, she's like, "You're right. You beat me once, and I beat you like 5 times. You beat me for the speed title. Congrats. I beat you 5 times." So the build is Candice is trying to get revenge, and she keeps trying to do what she did at the Royal Rumble, getting that chair out, delivering that suplex on the chair that started all of this way back. However, Iyo escapes it, and she can't quite get her. So now we're at Backlash. The women's title match kicks off the show in Mexico City. Crowd's going wild, hopefully. I believe Iyo wrestled for Lucha Underground, and I'm pretty sure Candice wrestled in Mexico. So they should like this. And Candice comes down to the ring. Before the match even starts, she comes down. Iyo comes down with the title. However, Candice wasted no time with that suicide dive on the outside, and the bell rings. Match is underway. Now, these two, they deliver a banger. When they're in the ring, it is never not a banger of a match. So, they go at it. Now, for the sake of the amount of content that I have for this feud, I am gonna go to the finish of the match. So, after all these moves, after all this amazing wrestling, Iyo hits the over the moonsault. 1, 2, Candice puts her foot on the rope, and this is after a number of big moves, so Iyo gets frustrated and eventually goes to the outside. She's frustrated. Candice hits her, and the title falls off the little podium, right? So they keep fighting. Eventually, a rough bump happens, and Candice brings the title into the ring. She seizes the opportunity. She goes to hit Iyo. Iyo grabs the title. The ref is out. It's this awkward tug of war over the title. However, eventually, Iyo gets it. Candice runs at her as if it's her instinct. Iyo hits Candice with the title, lands a second moonsault, and retains the championship. And after this, she holds up the title. Candice is rolled out. When Candice gets back up, she tries to go in the ring to take Iyo out, deal more damage, but referees hold her back. So, the feud is far from over. And now we are on the next night on Monday Night Raw. It is the road to Queen and King of the Ring. So, before the qualifying matches even begin for the women's side, Candice comes out demanding a rematch at Queen and King of the Ring because, she got hit with the title. Iyo brings up, you cheated, all of this. So, the general manager, Adam Pearce, comes out and decides to put Candice in the tournament. She's like, I want that title shot. Now she's complaining. Pearce is like, you know what? Your match is going to happen right now. And her opponent, I want to pick someone she can't beat. So let's go with Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley comes out. She's destroying Candice. Candice went through a war a couple of nights before. She's destroying her. And then Candice, she gets the upper hand, but she leaves the ring and gets herself counted out. The announcers are confused. They're like, what's she doing? This was your one shot to get an opportunity, and you just squandered it by getting yourself counted out. What's going on? They're wondering all that out. So later in the night, Kairi Sane has a qualifying match. She does not win it, and Candice comes out and beats her up. The announcers are like, where's Iyo? All this. Where is she? But it's revealed backstage she was attacked as well. So Candice, she beats up on her with the chair, hits a suplex on the chair, the thing that started it all, keeps wailing on her with kendo sticks, and she handcuffs Kairi to the ropes. And Iyo comes out, she's limping, she's begging her to stop, but while she's handcuffed to the ropes, Candice grabs a kendo, keeps hitting her over and over. Iyo's begging for her to stop, and then Candice, she eventually knocks Iyo out. She goes in the ring to try and help, but she's injured from a backstage attack. So she handcuffs Iyo to the ropes as well. She's like, give me a title shot at Queen of the Ring. And then Iyo refuses, so what she does instead, she takes the handcuffs, puts it around the ring post, so she literally can't move anywhere, just dangling from the post. And she's keeps beating up Kairi kendo stick, and Iyo eventually agrees to the match. So they continue going at it for like the weeks to come. Iyo is trying to get revenge for what Candice did to Kyrie. So in this match, eventually, on a couple of weeks before the pay-per-view, it is made a last woman standing match. So you going into this, here's the match. Going into this, you is more motivated than ever to take out Candice because of what she did to her friend. And Candice LeRae, she thinks Iyo brought upon her downfall. Iyo had to cheat at Backlash, so it's just getting revenge. That's all it is to Candice LeRae. So now we get to the show. We get to Queen and King of the Ring. And once again, Candice comes out first. And she tries to do the suicide dive. You saw it coming. She whacks her with the title belt. And the match starts again. Before they make it in the ring, this time the match starts. And it's a war. This is a war, and it's mainly about the championship belt. And this last woman standing match, you see, normally they bring out the golf carts, they bring out the tables, they bring out the ladders, they do all this. This is not that type of last woman standing match. This is two women beating like each other to death, and it's like who's gonna make it. So instead, weapons like chairs, kendo sticks, baseball bats, sledgehammers, so those are used. We get very little amount of tables and ladders. However, one ladder does get used, and one table does get used towards the end. So, but this is how it happens, and keep in mind the match mainly revolves around using that title on the screen because that was the finish to Backlash. So, a ladder is set up. Keep in mind, both of their legs are injured at this point because they do everything they could to keep the other person down. So, Candice and LeRae, they're both on the ladder, tables on one side. Candice superplexes her off the ladder through a table. Yes, that is a crazy spot. So the ref is counting. Iyo, she is by the outside of the ring. Candice is square in the middle of the ring. Ref counts 8, 9. So by 8, Candice is trying to get up, but her injured leg, she's dragging herself around. Iyo is still knocked out. 9. Candice is almost up. And then right before 10, I said Iyo's by the outside of the ring. She rolls outside. Both of her feet are on the floor. And then the ref says 10, rings the bell. And still women's champion, Iyo Sky. Barely because she got out of the ring and she immediately collapses. And then Candice recovers, she's on her feet by then. The refs go over, raise her arm on the ground, she's still champion. And Candice, she snaps after this. She loses it. And it gets to the point where she makes Iyo bleed. So I know WWE, normally in their women's matches, blood is unintentional. It's not scripted, it just happens. But it's not planned out. Here, we're actually gonna do it planned out. Because after this match, this becomes a full-on blood feud. And the Backlash match took place to open the show, and this one, due to the finish being unclear, I'm gonna have it be in the middle of the card for Queen and King of the Ring. So after this, it's all hands on deck, and Candice is wanting a rematch. Iyo accepts her rematch, but the issue is Adam Pearce does not want to give these two a rematch after what happened at King and Queen of the Ring. He treats it like a crime scene just happened at Queen and King of the Ring. So he refuses to give this title match. And by the way, one image I want at Queen of the Ring, that title belt there, that should be covered in blood after the beatdown. That would be a really fun image to me. So back to post Queen and King of the Ring. So Iyo's on the shelf. Yeah, she's like at home, she accepts it, but Pierce won't sanction it. So Candice LeRae, she comes out 1 week on Raw. And she says, I'm actually not feeling too bad. I didn't get my rematch, but I'm actually fine. So I'll tell you a story. This Candice LeRae. She says, I'll tell you a story. Back in NXT in 2019, 2018, Iyo and I were close, so we were tight before she stabbed me in the back. I learned a lot about her. I learned what's important to her. She opened up to me about what's important to her, and I did the same back. So I decided to pay a little trip to Japan. And then she tells them to roll the footage. Maybe it's Iyo's house in Japan. Candice just destroys it. She destroys everything in the house. It is a solid 5-minute video. It could be some other place that's special to Iyo, but she destroys it. And she's like, so I'm not gonna get my title match, right? That's fine, that's fine. Pierce, that's fine. But if you don't give me that title shot that I want, I'm gonna continue to make Iyo's life a living hell. You will never have your champion back. If she is in the Raw building, I will be there to take her down. If she even sets one foot into the Raw venue, I will be there to take her out again. And I will continue to destroy everything she loves. Take out her friends like I did to Kyrie. Take out places that are special to her until I get my title shot. Pierce refuses. So then this keeps happening for weeks. Maybe she invades her home in Orlando. I don't know. Just crazy stuff. This happens for a few weeks, but then WWE announces on their social media Iyo is returning at Clash at the Castle in Ireland to make an announcement about the situation. So Pierce, he goes up to Candice and he's like, yeah, you're gonna try to sabotage this. I know you're gonna try and make a mess. You're gonna try and take her out again. So here's the thing. You said you can't step a single foot into a Raw venue because you'll take her out. How about this? You are banned from the arena for Clash at the Castle in Dublin, Ireland. Heck, I'm gonna ban you from Dublin. No, I'm gonna ban you from Ireland. I don't want to see you in the country. And pay close attention to this interview, because I have allowed her to say this. I have sanctioned everything she wants. So it will be revealed what's going to happen. Now we get to Clash at the Castle. The interview goes down, and at the end of it, she basically goes at Candice and Ray. She's like, I have nothing to say to you. You did all this stuff, right? She's speechless. She's like, you've hurt me more than I've ever been hurt in this business. Not because you used that title to make me bleed. Not even because of you taking me out, hitting me with those weapons in the wars we had. Not any of the physical battle scars. It's what you did to Kyrie. It's what you did to my home. It's what you did to all my prized possessions. I am gonna give you one more shot. You have to swear that after this, I will never see you again in my life. If I beat you, you are banished to SmackDown. I don't ever want to see you again. However, you beat me, you get the championship. So, Money in the Bank, Calgary, Alberta, Canada, you and I, barbed wire steel cage match for the championship. And Candice accepts, and it is made official. Barbed wire steel cage match, barbed wire cage, as it says here, and Women's World Championship, Candice LeRae, Iyo Sky. One more time. Now, build to this is this is now a blood feud. Like, I would have you invade Candice's home, maybe. Maybe if DIY or tag champs, she makes them lose the tag titles because Johnny Gargano is Candice's husband. She does all this stuff. Candice dishes it back. They have locker room brawls where they have to get separated. And on the final go home show, it's announced that basically they're gonna air all their grievances. The final show before the barbed wire cage match, they're just gonna let it out. So they go at it, they're throwing blows at each other. Iyo once again references how she took out Kyrie. She took out, she went to her home, she did all the stuff to her, put her on the shelf, made her bleed, all that. And then Candice, she's like, you mentioned Kyrie, but back in NXT, was I ever truly your friend, or was I just a replacement? Was I a replacement because Kyrie was gone? And Candice, she's like, after Saturday, so I will no longer be a replacement. And then she can't take it anymore. She nails her. They're fighting. Security separates them both. We have like 20, 30 security people coming out to separate them. And then Iyo, she's in the ring. Candice has been pulled up to the ramp. And Iyo's like, this Saturday, Money in the Bank, I'm gonna kill you. I'm gonna end you for good. And Candice, she's like, you're gonna have to. And there you go. So now we're at the pay-per-view. This is the main event of Money in the Bank. So Candice comes out again. Like, she comes out first because she's the challenger. Iyo's music hits, and nobody could see her. She's not coming down. They're like, Candice, attack her again. What's going on? And then behind her, on one of these corners, like the cage is mostly barbed wire, but these corners, you can stand on them. On one of those corners, Iyo is up there. Candice turns around and she hits Candice with a moonsault off the top. And then the bell rings and they go at it. And this is insane, this match. They push the boundaries just like they did in Hell in a Cell for Punk and Drew at Bad Blood. They push the boundaries for what they can get away with. If they can get away with a barbed wire baseball bat, by all means. And in this match, both of them end up bleeding. It is a bloodbath. It is one of, if not the greatest women's match of all time. They go at it. They get a solid 30 minutes in the main event. And like, they just go to war. They just do crazy spots from their TLC match in NXT. You could do some callbacks to that. The title could be brought in somehow. Maybe. So, at the end of the match, there is 2 tables stacked in the ring. I was gonna do a flaming table. You can substitute a flaming table in. However, I do not want injuries in this match. If you want a flaming table, by all means. But I want to be a bit realistic here. Flaming table in a barbed wire cage match. I don't think even AEW with their hardcore stuff would have the gall to do that. So there's a table in the ring, and at the end of the match, Iyo on her last legs, Candice on her last legs, 2 stacked tables in the ring. They're choking each other out with barbed wire. It is like barbaric what's going on. So Iyo, though, she gets the upper hand. She wraps her fists in barbed wire uppercuts, and both of them are on the top. Iyo looks for a Spanish fly. Mind you, the ring is covered in red at this point because there's that much blood. She does a Spanish fly off the top rope through 2 tables or through a flaming table, and the announcers show a replay at this point, and then they get back. All of a sudden, you hear 1, 2, 3. Ding, ding, ding. The announcers, they're like, what just happened? So they're trying to find footage, like they're struggling. They're like, the ref just counted. He counted 1, 2, 3. What happened? And then the person with the mic picks up the microphone, as they would. They say, and new Women's World Champion Candice LeRae. And the announcers are appalled at what happened. So this is what happened. A replay is shown, and it shows that when they fell, both of them were knocked out. However, Candice LeRae, her arm was on Iyo. So that's why the ref counted. Both of them were knocked out. It just happened to be that way. So Candice and Iyo is the new women's champion, and that is the booking video. My goal here was to showcase their amazing matches, to create a really fun story in the women's division, because even the Livria one, Dominic was involved, but this is a feud between Candice and Iyo, two people, and I just wanted to make a fun feud about that. I was there live for their Toronto match in 2019. I loved it. It's one of my favorite women's matches of all time, if not my favorite. So I just wanted to make this video, and this puts Candice LeRae over this victory. Later on down the line, like Iyo, she'd probably be gone for a bit after this match because it's crazy, and maybe she gets back if Candice is still champ. Survivor Series gets the title back. However, for now, this is Future Slam Reignite, where the tables, they may be reignited in this match, and this feud is also reignited as well. So, thank you for watching. This has been Suplexus. Thank you for watching all the videos I've published in the past 3 to 4 weeks. I went on a spree because I've been on my break from school in the winter. However, this will more than likely be the last one, and I'm really proud of what I got to do with Future Slam Reignition, with Future Slam Royal Rumble, with even the Tears of the Kingdom review, Saturday night's main event, predictions, and review. I got to get out a lot of videos, not to mention my shorts on The World's End, a short video. So, thank you so much for watching. If you like the content that I'm making, feel free to like it. This has been Suplexus. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good one.